Hi, I'm Taj Tashambe, your host of See Things From Our Side. On today's episode, I'll be speaking with ESPN NBA analyst Marc Spears. Let's go. Welcome back. I'm your host, Taj Tashambe. Welcome to See Things From Our Side.
And if you forget, his name is behind him. So if you forget who the host is, look back there, and it'll tell you who the esteemed host is. My God.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
We're going to keep all that. We're going to keep that. We're not doing another take of that.
That's pimp.
That is, man. I appreciate that, man.
Hey, look at that, man.
Listen, man, we all got to move up in the world a little bit,
You are.
right? I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You being here today, Marc J. Spears,
Yes, sir.
ESPN NBA analyst, extraordinary writer. Man, you've inspired a lot of people, man, from this community. I just want you to know that. Both in the sports industry, in the community, socially, professionally, we really look up to you and admire you, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And especially my brother, Marcus Thompson. You know, Marcus Thompson and I both went to Clark Atlanta University, shout out CAU.
Yeah.
He and I talk a lot about the role you played in his career, you know, and helping him with his journalistic prowess that he has today. And he recognizes you, man. So I just want to give you some flowers. This whole show.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
Marcus is an Oakland institution,
Absolutely.
Bay Area institution, and he's real.
Absolutely.
He's as real as it gets, and he's a phenomenal writer.
Yeah.
So I remember when he was a baby trying to figure it out.
Right.
Like he told me, I barely remember him, you know, but when Marcus first started, I think it's something that all the black writers do.
Yeah.
When I first started covering NBA in '99, there were black writers that made sure you okay.
Sure.
You know, these are the hotels that you should stay at.
Right.
This is how you should do things. This is how you should dress.
Right.
You know, Marcus didn't really listen to the dress part, but he, you know, I gave him some information to help him early,
Right.
and I think it's something that's kind of like the National Association of Black Journalists. We're like a fraternity, sorority.
Right.
Like we help each other out, make sure you're okay. And so now I help Marcus. He's helped countless others. Now there's a new, you know, CJ Holmes, a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle. He actually lives in Oakland. We own him. Make sure he's all right too. So, you know, I knew he would pay it forward.
Absolutely.
He's a professor out here too, so he's really
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marcus.
Yeah.
Well, Marc, tell us a little bit about you, man, your story. I mean, we see you on TV every day. I know you have roots to the Bay Area from the beginning, but what's your story, man? Where can you take us back?
It was a cold day. My mom is originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, and she aspired to be a nurse. And when she was, you know, coming out of high school in the early '60s, she had great grades.
Yeah.
But the nursing school that she wanted to go to in New Orleans didn't want her to come because she was black.
Wow.
And so she decided to do something that nobody in her immediately family had done, and which was leave home to get what she wanted.
Okay.
And so she went to St. Louis, where she had an aunt who told her, hey, I know a school that will take you. It's an all-black historic nursing school called Homer G. Phillips in St. Louis.
Wow, okay.
So my aunt, God rest her soul, my great aunt, she had like 6 kids already. She took my mom in.
I love it.
And so my mom ended up going up there and getting to the school, graduating there, meeting my father, getting married, having me, and she got a job at Stanford Hospital.
Wow. So you were born in St. Louis?
Born in St. Louis.
Okay, shout out to the Lou.
Why people are like, why are you a Cardinals fan?
There it is.
My mom used to take me to Cardinals games when they played at Candlestick. So
Okay.
I used to go to Cardinals games. Ozzie Smith. Shout out to Ozzie Smith.
Shout out.
We moved here in about '75.
Okay.
And my dad tells stories about, we were supposed to live in, they were trying to get us to live in East Palo Alto, but he saw some places in San Jose that he liked. And
Sure.
so we actually ended up settling in East Side San Jose.
Okay.
And so my mom, was a basically occupational health nurse. She had me around a lot of amazing black women. She was in the South Bay Black Nurses Association. And so I was always around like really successful black women, right? My dad, he worked for New United Motors in Fremont.
Okay. Knew me?
He knew me.
Back in the day?
And,
Absolutely.
I worked there one summer, which was really motivational to be a journalist after, to work there for
Right.
some. I sweated worse than I was playing basketball.
Right.
But he also learned, he was a part of a group that won a racism lawsuit.
Really?
New United
Okay.
Motors in the early 90s. So he was amongst other supervisors who had trained white employees that ended up getting promoted over them in time.
Got it. That was a big, I remember
The
that
area.
suit. I remember
Like,
that,
this is like everybody thinks, well, this is the Bay, it's diverse. It didn't happen in Newbie.
Absolutely.
And so knowing my mom's story, knowing what my father had gone through, dealing with racism issues, even growing up in San Jose,
Right.
dealt with it was extremely diverse, but because it was so diverse, I think they tried to find black people to pick on. I dealt with a ton of racism things. I had a amazing high school coach named Dennis Fernandez,
Okay.
who was a Mexican man, like a second father to me still.
Sure.
But there was another coach who, we went to a Mexican restaurant. He's like, boy, they don't have fried chicken and watermelon here, like telling the high school. So this
Wow.
went to a Vietnamese restaurant once, and very hot day. I just went in there to buy a soda, and some guy came back with a cup of piss, told me to get out the restaurant.
Wow.
So there was a lot. So I had racism stuff growing up as a kid. I had a elementary school, a parent, a kid that was Asian. His mama accused me of stealing something out of her purse when I stayed the night at their house. Then she called back and said, "Oh, my bad, I found the money."
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think I was destined to write about race in sports, which I do at ESPN's Landscape for
Sure.
me to Undefeated, because there were things that I saw, whether it was my own family,
Right.
pain my dad went through at his job, stories my mom told me. She ended up going back to New Orleans like 20 years ago to work at this hospital, which was happened to be the same hospital that she was trying to go to nursing school.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day, and the office she got was the same office that she was told she couldn't go to.
Man, that's God.
And she broke down and cried in the office. Like, can you imagine that?
Man.
Like, basically, like
Full circle.
40 years earlier,
Right.
someone told you that because you're black, wink, wink,
Right.
you can't go to this school. Now you're one of the people running the hospital on the same.
Man, let's toast to that, man.
Yeah. So
Let's toast to that.
I think when maybe I got too deep too early, right? But
Nah.
when people wonder why I'm so passionate about talking about race, I think God had my family go through these things, having me go through these things, have me see these things, in order to be a voice for the voiceless in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
And to, which may even be more important, educate the people that need to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you and giving us a little bit of your story, because I think a lot of times we don't know the people that have been chosen
Yeah.
and why
Yeah.
and how they're using their gifts and their talents. And thank you for giving us a little insight. How's the wine, man?
It's good, man. It tastes like local, man. There's some blue.
Listen, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
Shout out to Rosenblum.
shout out to Jack London Square, Rosenblum Cellars. Absolutely. So speaking of Oakland and Jack London Square,
Yeah.
shout out again to Rosenblum.
Yes, sir.
I had to make sure you were right. Had a little wine for you, because I know you're a big wine connoisseur.
Appreciate that.
My guy.
It's a bait thing.
It's a Bay thing. It's a Bay thing.
Yes, sir.
So what role has Oakland played in your trajectory? Like as childhood years up until your adult years, when you eventually ended up moving to the area. It's moving back, I should say. Take us through A little bit of your journey there.
Well, I think you got to go back to my childhood, man.
Okay.
I think a lot of Bay Area kids that don't live in Oakland or San Francisco are probably always most fascinated by San Francisco.
Right.
That wasn't me. I was more fascinated by Oakland. And I think what it was the black population in San Jose is much lower now.
Right.
I think it's like 2%. But when I was a kid, I think it was more like 11,
Okay.
which in hindsight is decent, right?
Right.
But compared to everybody else, it seemed low to me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that was like black was like dope to me. Like anything that could help me identify with, my people and see people
Right.
like me doing great things. And to me, that was always in Oakland, man.
Absolutely.
And so I think sports first
Right.
brought me in. Jim Plunkett, who played for the team that
course.
left.
Right. Right.
He was actually from San Jose. So when I first started liking that team before they left,
Right.
like Plunkett was.
That was your quarterback.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he from San Jose,
Right. Right.
I was the biggest Ricky Henderson fan there was.
Man, come on.
And so we used to go. Hey, shoot, you might be too young for this. They had a thing called Safeway Saturdays.
I know about Safeway Saturdays.
Where you would pay like $5,
$5. Right.
and you would get a bleacher seat, a hot dog,
Right.
a soda pop, like chips, and maybe some sunflower seeds, something like
Or
$5.
Cracker Jacks. Yeah.
And so I had to pay $5 and got fed something, and I get to see Ricky Henderson play.
Win. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man. So
Can't beat
me
that.
and my boys, we used to take Bart up, take it from like Fremont, have my mom drop me off in Fremont, take the Bart up,
Right.
go watch Ricky Henderson.
Right,
Did
right.
that several times. And that was cool, like to go do that. And,
Yeah.
I don't even think I had any money to eat anything at the game. Like that, whatever I ate pregame that they
That
gave
was
us,
it.
that was maybe we put our little pennies together and
Right.
bought some popcorn or
Right,
something
right,
to
right.
hold us down. But yeah, man, so that was another introduction to Oakland. I had family here.
Sure.
Shout out to the Dorothy family. Like I used to go visit them. And so it was like cool. Like, ooh, like,
Right, right.
Oakland is cool. So then as I got older, I still remember, man, like going to the Henry J. Kaiser,
Yeah.
go to the Fresh Fest. And my dad's like, I'm gonna pick you up at 12. 12?
Well, we're still partying at 12.
like
right.
12 o'clock.
Right.
But he probably was at Jeffrey's Inner Circle, get a drink or something.
Right.
And
I'll scoop you up on the way
like,
home.
when it got too late, like I ain't gonna be out too late.
Right.
Like, he didn't leave Oakland, so I remember he dropped me and my cousin off. And I can't even remember who was in the Fresh Fest at the time.
Right.
but We like went there before the last two acts.
Man.
Like when Pop said you gotta be outside at 12.
Right. You got to be outside.
It wouldn't better if he would have just came in with us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those like Oakland was like the cool place to go.
Yeah.
Like, San Francisco, my mom would take me there. We'd
Right.
go to the museums.
Right.
Like
Pier 39.
Pier
all
39.
that.
And, I got to see Hank Gathers play once.
Okay,
when I was
okay.
in high school. But like Oakland was the spot. Like Oakland was the cool spot to go. And
That was
then
the spot.
as I went to college, junior college at San Jose State, and I used to get into Jeffries.
Right.
Had my one little sport coat. You had to look sharp going
You had
to
to be sharp.
Jeffries. And yeah, man. So Oakland was always this like, I think any black kid in San Jose is attracted to Oakland.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you want to like be there and hang out and feel like they think you're cool too. Because if you're like cool in Oakland, then you're cool.
Anywhere.
Cool
Yeah.
anywhere. So I graduated from San Jose State in '95.
Okay. And you hooped. You hooped at
I
San Jose.
hooped in. I played at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills.
Okay.
Went to the University of District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. Wasn't really happy with the academics.
Okay.
Came to San Jose State, blew out my knee. Actually had a racism issue with the coach,
Wow.
which is a whole nother long story, which
Sure.
that sparked me today. But he essentially didn't like something I was writing in the school paper about the lack of black coaches in college basketball, and I challenged the black athletes at the time that they should sit out a game.
Well, let's talk about San Jose State for a minute because there's a lot of great sports history, especially around social justice and impact.
Yeah.
Tommy Smith, John Carlos,
Dr. Harry
Edwards, et cetera. What are your relationships like with
I even saw
those guys?
Which says a lot about San Jose State. Because my schooling there, basketball didn't work out well for me, but I saw Stokely Carmichael speak.
Really? On campus?
On campus.
Wow.
And actually, and my sister, I don't think she remembers it, but she was off school that day.
Okay.
And I brought her with me.
Wow.
And
that's major.
Yeah. Like most schools, especially now, will try to ban somebody from that.
Coming. Yeah.
To speak
right.
at the school. But I saw him. I saw, how was my man? He's from Oakland, but he played like a pimp who died. He recently died.
Shoot, let me think about who you're talking about. A pimp who died.
Come on, man. No, he was light-skinned dude. He had bushy hair in the movie. Famous black exploitation film.
Not why can't I think of my brother's name right now? Help me out, guys. Anybody know? Anybody else said no?
They played.
We're not talking about the Mac. We're not talking about the Mac. Who was the
Max
name?
Julian.
Max Julian. Yeah, Max Julian.
Max
okay.
Julian speaking San Jose State.
Get out of here. He was prophetic though. he was prophetic.
It was along with I had some great professors. Shout out to Dr. Bob Rucker, who was a black professor who taught journalism. Used to work at WGN. Learning from him was amazing.
Okay.
Dr. Harry Edwards taught some classes there. I connected with him now. But San Jose State was dope. It was a dope, fun school.
Seriously. Yeah.
The school brought Stokely Carmichael in and Max Julian.
That's wild.
So it was a great school to go to. But I graduated from there and wrote for the Spartan Daily school paper. And I knew I was going to be a sports writer since 7th grade. So
how did you know in 7th grade that you wanted to be a sports writer? What happened?
There was a guy, actually, we had this is one thing. I'm going to put this out there.
Okay.
I'm going to put this out there.
All right.
You tell the story first, and then, because I need you for this. This is some real thing.
All right.
This is real. When I say it, it's going to be dope.
Okay.
But I think somebody like you could pull this off. But we're going to get back to that.
Let's get back to it.
First question.
All right.
One of the most, I think, best things that ever happened to me growing up was career day.
Okay.
In my junior high, Silverdale Junior High in San Jose,
all right,
had career day. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th day. They always had career day.
Mm-hmm.
So my 7th grade year, one of the people I picked to go listen to was, he's director of communications for the Warriors.
Okay.
Now, Oakland and San Jose is not close ride, right?
Nah.
Why he went to my junior high, I had no idea. I'm guessing he might have been dating one of my teachers or something like that.
Right.
How does this dude decide to come 40 miles and speak at a random East Side San Jose junior high school, right?
Right.
So it was a guy from the Warriors. I was big into hoop.
Okay.
I was dreaming about playing for the Warriors one day.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, man, he pointed at me. It had to be God, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
And he goes, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Without hesitation, "I want to play for y'all."
Yeah.
Excited, right?
Right.
He goes, "Well, what are you gonna do if you can't play for us? What if you're gonna do if you get hurt?"
I don't know.
I was a kid that read, and I was a realistic kid. I wasn't that pie in the sky kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I read Sports Illustrated. I got my dad to get me Sports Illustrated when I was in elementary school. That's how much I love sports. And I read a stat in Sports Illustrated that said, so I'm dating myself. We're talking about 82.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Or 84. And it said, 84, less than 2% of all NBA players, less than 2% of all college basketball players make it to the NBA.
So only 2%?
Yeah, so that stuck with me. Less than 2% of all college basketball players make it to the NBA. You got to remember, this is '84, so the
Right.
influx of international players hadn't
That
come
hadn't
yet.
happened. Right.
Like,
That's crazy.
so what does that tell you? It's probably half
Today.
now, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like today, the NBA in total, in its 75-year history, has had less than 5,000 players.
That's crazy.
So everybody ain't making it to the NBA.
You got to be a baller on top of being a
Exactly.
baller. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, if I could just use basketball to get to college, I'd be happy.
So Mark, why does so many of our kids then think that they're going to the NBA? I mean, you cover kids in high school now, in AAU.
Yeah,
How
I
do
mean,
we-
because it's sexy and it's naive,
Okay.
right? Like, who wouldn't want to play in the NBA, right?
Right.
But I think what a lot of kids need to realize is I won't ever tell a kid that he can't make it to the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, but how are you working?
Right.
I know James Harden used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, take a bus to his high school, through the hood, get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, work out for an hour,
Right.
and then go to class, and then practice with his team. Are you that committed? Because that's what it's going to take.
Right.
Like Jalen Green, who was the number 2 pick in the draft, I believe 2 years ago for
Right.
the Houston Rockets. When he was playing for Prolific Prep in Napa, he got invited to work out at 5:30 in the morning with Steph Curry, and did it. And so he was getting up at 17 years old, driving his car like an hour so he could work out with Steph Curry. I'm sure most kids are like, well, if you only got to get to work out with Steph, yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna be up. Right.
But that's the kind of work ethic that you have to have.
Really.
So, but for me, years later, maybe it was journalism where my work ethic was like that, because my college coach at DC, Ed Epps, told me, man, if you cared about basketball as much as you do that goddamn journalism, you'd be a hell of a player.
There it is.
But that stat rang with me, right?
In 7th grade.
But at that time, when I read the stat, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So going back to the guy from the Warriors, he said, he asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, I don't know. He
Right.
said, well, my advice is to you, and I say this every time I talk to kids, if you can combine what you love most in life with what you do best in school, you'll find a job that you'll be happy with every day.
Wow.
There's no mention about money in there.
That's right. That's right.
It's about job that you'll be happy with every day.
Absolutely.
And look, man, I like money. You like money.
Right.
Like I ain't gonna lie. Like the good life is the good life.
Yeah.
But I've seen people all over the world who maybe don't make a ton of money, but they have jobs where they really love what they do,
And they're happy.
and they're happy.
That's right.
They're happy. And so I took what that man said to heart. The next day, Miss Thompson, if you're out there, my 7th grade teacher, she was
Yeah.
amazing. She said, all right, everybody needs to write a letter, there was no internet at the time,
Right.
to somebody in a field that you're interested in. So I was like, I'm going to think about what the guy from the Warriors said. What do I love most? I love sports. I love sports.
Okay.
What do I do best in school? Well, I suck in math. I suck in science.
Yeah.
I'm good at writing. I'm a good writer. I like English. I'm a
Right.
good writer. Hey, why not be a sports writer? I want to do that. If I can't be at the Super Bowl playing,
Right.
odds are low. If I can't be at the World Series catching a fly ball, if I can't be dunking in the finals, next best thing is to be there, right?
And writing about it.
Yeah. Then there's like this light bulb, like, I'm going to be a sports writer. So now also we had a subscription to the San Jose Mercury News.
Okay.
We used to read the Sports Illustrated, San Jose Mercury News. There's a sports columnist by the name of Marc Purdy.
I know Mark.
I wrote Marc Purdy, a famous sports columnist, who I thought was like, he always taking the contrarian side, you know what I mean? Like the side that, but I respected him, and I sent him a letter, and he wrote me back. I asked him, told him I want to be a sports writer, what should I do? He gave me a letter back, wrote me back. Imagine if he didn't write me back, but he did.
But he did.
And that's like, when you talk about me giving back and helping people, like, man, I had to. Like, this man helped me, man. If this dude didn't write me this letter, I'm not talking to you.
Wow.
Don't tell him what I'm doing. So how can I tell somebody, no, I ain't going to talk to you?
Wow.
This kid, I was taking the ferry to the Giants game. He's like, Mr. Spears, I just graduated from Northwestern.
Okay.
Can I talk to you? I could use some guidance.
Yeah.
Hit me on IG, I'll hit you back. I'm gonna talk to them more. Like
That's what's up.
I feel like I have to talk to everybody,
Man.
and I
That's
don't
amazing.
even. I might not remember everybody's name, but I'm gonna
Right.
give him some time.
Right.
He wrote me that letter, man, and he said, first thing you need to do in junior high is write on the school paper or on the school yearbook. And I wrote on the school paper. So I covered the 8th grade flag football team at Silverdale Junior High School. If you go back
Go
to
find
Silverdale
it.
Junior
Yeah.
High papers,
Okay.
a writer by the name of Marc J. Spears covered
Okay.
the 8th grade flag football team. Went to their practices. I went to their games.
Yeah.
Got to know the players. Got to know the coach.
Okay.
I covered them like they was going to the Super Bowl or something.
Right.
So when people ask me how long you been a sports writer since the 7th grade.
So,
So the Marc J,
yeah, tell me about that.
that was a 7th grader's decision.
Really?
Because my name is Marc Spears, and I'm like, well, maybe it could kind of make it give a little bounce, a little. I've always been one to say, differentiate yourself from
Absolutely.
everybody else. right?
Absolutely.
My mom gave me the C, which I think made my name unique. A lot of
Sure. It is.
Spears is not a common name, but I'm like, let me throw the J in there. So
Right.
I actually get pissed when they put my name on TV or someone
Yeah.
puts an article on me and they don't put the J. Like that's like important too, because I that's what I use.
That's
right?
what you use.
So
So your cousin works at ESPN too?
well, Marcus
Spears. Is Marcus your cousin?
Yeah,
Like your real blood cousin?
I believe so.
You
I don't know, and I'll say this: I don't know a ton of people on my dad's side of the family.
Okay. Okay.
I do know definitely a lot of the origins, and it's from the same small town in Mississippi that Marcus is from.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we haven't figured it out distinctly yet.
But you know.
Some of the names are the same.
Yeah.
I just haven't been there to meet everybody.
That's
so
deep.
I'd put money, marble, and chalk that we're related.
Y'all need
And
to
we
do
call
it.
each other cousins.
Y'all need to do a story on that
Yeah,
city
yeah,
and that
yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
Small town in Mississippi. So
What's the name of the town? Or where's it near?
it's not like what Richard Pryor says, Tupelo or one below. It's not that. I think it's Liberty.
Liberty.
Liberty,
Okay.
Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, going back, like so, wrote on the school paper. Purdy said when you get to high school, take all the typing classes you could take.
Right.
Write on the school paper or the yearbook. Played high school basketball, wrote on the school paper. Took typing 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it honors English?
Wow.
When you go to college, write on the school paper, and then get as many internships as possible.
Cool.
Went to 3 colleges. I wrote on the college paper, all 3 colleges. So for all you college kids who are athletes talking about, well, I was an athlete, you have time.
You have time.
You have time if you can make time. So I don't want to hear that excuse about, well,
Right.
I had practice. No, I made
Right.
time.
Right.
man.
Right. Right.
I made time.
I receive it.
You have journalism as a class. You had school paper as a class. I found time to write stuff.
Absolutely.
And I joined the National Association of Black Journalists, which was life-changing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I sent a letter to the San Jose Metro, which was a weekly newspaper. Another thing I don't agree with is people talking about, I have no experience, but I deserve to get paid. No, man, get that experience. If someone wants to pay you, cool. If they can't,
Right.
gotta get your experience going,
Right,
man. Don't
right.
sit there because you ain't getting a check.
Build a resume.
There's a reason why you ain't getting a check. Like,
Right.
you ain't nice.
Right.
Once you get there, so I walked into the San Jose Metro. I'm like, hey, I noticed that you guys don't have any sports stories. Can I write sports stories for you for a summer? And they said, we'd love to have it. And I wrote sports stories for a whole summer for free
Wow.
for my sophomore year in college.
For free.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
It's on my resume
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
My resume don't need to know it's free.
Right.
I wrote for San Jose Metro.
Period.
NABJ, I applied for their internship program. After my junior year, I applied for 30 different internships. All of them said no, except for one. The National Association of Black Journalists picked me as their intern.
Wow.
One of the interns, I think I was the last person they picked. They sent me to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
I interviewed a young boxer by the name of Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Stop.
I covered a Cubs game. Covered the Detroit Lions practice. I'm
Okay.
in college, bro.
That's amazing.
I covered the U.S. Olympic Festival, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
I covered some minor league baseball. So I'm coming back to San Jose State now.
Balling.
Like, my resume is deep.
Nice. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my
Right.
clips are deep.
Right.
San Jose Mercury News is like, hey, when you got free time, you want to cover high school basketball games for us? So I'm a senior in college. Now I'm making money now. And then the internship in Grand Rapids, I got paid for that. I'm making money covering high school basketball games and I have to give a shout out to Bud Geraci. Because a squeaky wheel gets the story. I mean, gets the
Right.
the oil.
Right.
We had a really good basketball player at San Jose State by the name of Terry Cannon. After practice, there was a sports columnist named Bud Geraci from the Mercury News. He was talking to Terry, interviewing him.
Yeah.
I recognized him, knew who he was, and I waited till Bud was done, and I said, "Hey, Bud, my name is Marc Spears. I want to be a sports writer."
Wow.
I was telling him what I was doing. A couple of days later, I'm taking high school football scores
Wow.
at the school paper. A couple months after that, they got confidence in me. I'm writing high school basketball stories and getting $75 a story, get my name in the paper.
Right.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil thing, right? And then by the time I graduated when I graduated from San Jose State, Washington Post, LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle, all these places that said no. Dallas Morning News all offered me internships. That time, Dallas Morning News had the best sports page in the country,
Yeah.
and I went.
That's amazing,
So
man.
after I graduated from San Jose State, went to Dallas for 3 months, did that, and then I went to the Tulsa paper where
Okay.
I didn't get paid nothing, but I was covering Southeastern Conference,
Okay.
University of Arkansas for him, legendary coach Noah Richardson.
That's right.
So I wasn't a number one basketball pick in terms of, say, college basketball. I got a call about playing in Mexico,
Yeah.
but I felt like I was a number one pick in terms of journalism. And,
It's amazing, man.
never had to cover high school, no shade on people that did. I covered the SEC out of college,
Wow.
and that was because of the hard work I did in college.
Speaking of impact, when you think about the Razorbacks, Coach Richardson, and give me a story or two there, because this is after they went to the Final Four.
They went
After
to two Final
Fours.
won one championship.
Right.
Next year they lost to UCLA.
Right.
Then I walk in. I think I was the first black reporter to cover University of Arkansas.
So what was that relationship like for you?
I love him. I'll call him right now. I mean, I love that man.
Yeah.
Like, he basically put his arm over my shoulder from the moment I walked in
Wow.
and made sure I was okay.
Yeah.
He didn't give me every scoop. That
Sure.
wasn't his job to give me every scoop, but
Right.
he knew that I was like a unicorn at the time, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I wasn't somebody he ever saw.
Before, right.
And he certainly was some about a person that was big on helping African Americans and Mexicans,
Definitely.
people of color. His wife's Mexican.
Yeah.
And I truly love that man.
That's
Like,
fantastic.
He really, has always looked out for me when he made the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Nolan told me he was going. He was supposed to hold it in, but he told me. I
Right.
broke the news that he was going into the Hall of Fame. He's one
Yeah.
of the most amazing people I've met in my life. Like, I almost
Yeah.
get choked up like talking about him. But
Yeah, man. I've never seen you like this, man.
made- he took me in like a son.
I love that.
And to cover Nolan Richardson in your first job, why? I gotta be scared of nobody.
Right.
Cover
Right.
Nolan Richardson, bro.
Right. That's the man.
Like, after that, I got George Carl, Doc Rivers,
Right.
Tubby Smith,
Right.
because he was in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Every end, Bob,
Right.
Kerr,
Pop.
I don't,
Phil. Yeah.
Phil Jackson.
Whatever. Yeah.
I got Nolan in the beginning.
I'm good.
I'm good. And so that was such a blessing to cover him in the beginning.
That's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
You think he's gotten his flowers as
No.
far as the industry is concerned?
I've tried my best to give it to him, and I still probably haven't given him enough. Nolan Richardson, John Chaney, John Thompson, Nolan's the last one
Right.
still around.
Right.
Like those three guys, like there should be a movie, a documentary about those three and what
Deep.
they endured. And it's funny now, like, no one was revered in Arkansas now,
Yeah.
but because he was so, like, he did so much that people don't know in terms of helping, like, black students at the University of Arkansas deal with racism issues too. Like, they used to come meet with him.
Right.
Like, people don't know that, but they did. Like, he was amazing. And
That's deep.
To meet him, to spend time with him.
Right.
Like, I actually went to his house in Fayetteville, and he doesn't get too many visitors, but he let me film.
Okay.
And it broke my heart, man. Like, he has this, this didn't break. He has a farm that's, I know I'm going off topic.
That's okay.
He has a farm that's amazing with, like, cows, llamas,
Wow.
donkeys, all kind of animals and stuff. And he's making coffee,
Yeah.
like, instant.
Really?
I'm like, come on, coach.
Instant coffee, brother?
Instant coffee, bro. And I bought him
Hook your man up.
Razorback red thing where they make coffee. You know,
Yeah.
Keurig.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hook your man up, man.
I had to make sure coach was right.
Take us through your NBA journey. What got you to the league and eventually back home to the Bay?
Yeah. So my first 3 jobs, man, I worked in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 2 years. Then I actually came to LA, worked at the Daily News in Los Angeles, covering the Angels, the Dodgers. I actually was a Major League Baseball writer for 2 years.
Wow.
In Cal State, Northridge football and basketball.
Okay.
But it was there. I was at an Angels game, and I remember there was a guy sitting next to me in the press box, and he started calling the pitches, like slider, curveball, through ball. I'm like, and I finally said, "How you know the pitches?" He's like, "Oh man, I play college baseball." And then it hit me, like, man, why am I covering baseball?
Right.
I played college basketball. I love basketball the most. I need to get back to basketball.
Absolutely.
So I left the LA Daily News, went to Louisville, Kentucky,
Okay.
where I was a general assignment reporter, but they basically said, like, in 2 years, you'll be the University of Louisville beat writer.
Okay.
Louisville basketball is still big then. It's still big. It's
Sure.
an institution.
Absolutely.
I did a lot of Kentucky, Louisville, and
course you
Kentucky
did.
football and basketball.
Who are the coaches? Who are the basketball coaches in?
Denny Crum. Well, see, there's like the coaches I got to cover. Like, I covered Denny Crum.
Denny Crum.
Denny Crum was
Wow.
at Louisville. And
Who was at Kentucky?
Tubby Smith.
Tubby was there. Okay. Wow. Legends. Yeah.
Me, shoot. I was like I said, I ain't intimidated about no
Right.
Hall of Famers.
Right.
And so in '99, speaking about the National Association of Black Journalists, there was a guy by the name of Neil Scarborough who I met, who liked my stuff and had been following me, and he remembered the Cubs story I wrote.
Really?
And he goes, I remember he said, I read the other Cubs stories that day, and yours was better than the guys that were actually covering the team on a daily basis. And he always remembered that. He called me, he goes, oh man, how's the job going? I'm like, oh, it's cool, man. I like Louisville, it's dope.
Yeah.
He says, you want to cover the Denver Nuggets? I was like, when can I leave? And so it's funny, and I want you to get this on tape. I actually, at the time, was as big as a Warriors fan as there was. But in the world of professionalism, I had to get that up.
Okay.
I had all this Warriors gear. My boy Desta Owens from San Jose.
Okay.
I gave him everything I had.
All the swag.
All my Warriors stuff.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I covered the NBA, I couldn't be a fan.
Can't be a fan. Right.
I can't.
Right.
Like,
I feel you, man.
And it's like weird how I expunged it because I wish them the best. They do well. The Bay does well.
Right.
But when they lose, I lose no sleep. Right. It's a job.
Sarate. Yeah.
So, '99, I started covering the Denver Nuggets. I covered them for 8 years. Covered people like Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson.
8 years. That's a long stint for you.
Yeah.
How did you stay in the city for 8 years without getting pulled?
I tried to get a columnist job. They didn't want to give it to me.
Okay.
And I was working to try to be a columnist there. It didn't happen. And I finally had to say, it's time to go.
Okay.
And I was up for a job covering the Celtics for the Boston Globe.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy named Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen that just joined Paul Pierce.
I think I heard of them.
I was like, I got to get this job, man. Doc Rivers was coaching the team.
Right.
I got the job. So I covered the champion.
That
And that
season.
changed the trajectory of my career. Because I was doing the same thing in Boston that I'd done in Denver, but even with Melo there, Iverson there, Chauncey there, Kenyon, all those guys,
Right.
like smaller market,
Right.
they didn't win nothing. They would
Right.
get bounced in the first round. I just covered a champion. After that, I got a job at Yahoo Sports.
Wow. So who
In
recruited
2009.
you in '09? Who recruited you from Yahoo?
There was a guy named Johnny Ludden, who was the
Okay.
sports editor there, who actually used to cover the Spurs.
Wow.
He brought me on. They had another writer there by the name of Adrian Wojnarowski. Guy
Woj.
everybody knows Woj.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, Woj is in New York. You're in Boston. We need somebody out west.
Okay.
So I was like, they're like, we'll pay for you to move, but you got to move out west to have this job. So I took the job, and I looked at New Orleans because my parents were there.
Right.
But at that time, the ownership was shaky,
Right.
and I felt like I probably needed to go further west. I looked at L.A. You know,
Sure.
at that time, I had a good relationship with Kobe Bryant. So I was like, I could be around the Lakers and the Clippers, but my thing was, I missed home. I've always was intrigued about living in Oakland. Oakland was cool. I always wanted to be part of the cool.
Absolutely.
Coolest city in the Bay. Respect to San Jose, but Oakland's the coolest city in the Bay. And I was like, I could be 5 minutes from the Warriors, an hour and 15 minutes from the Kings.
Right.
And both teams were trash. And I was like, so I could get anybody I want from the other teams. I'll write about them on occasion,
Okay.
but this is about the teams coming in.
Right.
So I thought this was a great location. And so I'm a messer. So you know Michael Orange,
Yeah. Yeah.
legendary Michael Orange? And that I come here in 2009. Michael Orange is working at the Uptown Apartments. And I go there to meet with him about living in the Uptown Apartments. I saw it online. It looked
Right.
like it was dope. And this dude showed up an hour late. I was
Wow.
so pissed off
Hot.
that I called. I didn't even really go look at the apartment. I left. I called Dan Martinez, who worked for the Warriors at the time, now worked for the Atlanta Hawks. It's like telling him how frustrated I was. And Dan's like, hey, just drive down Broadway, go to Jack London and check it out. I think you're a Jack London guy.
Right. Right. Right.
Go down Broadway, and I just still remember, like, it's like the ocean. You go down Broadway, you guys probably don't even pay attention to it. Like, as I drove down the ocean, got rows and rows and rows because I get closer to it.
Okay.
And I drove right over by, like, you know, Scott's and Kincaid's.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, I can live by the
This
ocean.
is cool. Right.
Which is, I think, a lot of people, when you talk about Oakland, like, unless you're from here, like, Oakland has one of the prettiest lakes in the world.
Absolutely. Lake
in,
Merritt.
in Lake Merritt. And you could live in Jack London and live by the ocean
Right.
and have ocean views. Like,
Right. Right.
take the ferry to San like,
Crazy. Right?
I lived in Jack London, and so I ended up decided to move to Oakland. I moved to Jack London. I lived in the Bond.
in the Bond.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it just
It was
opened.
fly, huh?
Oh, super fly. I could only afford like the third and the bottom floor, right? And so my apartment was right next to the train tracks, man.
Okay.
So if I had my window down, the train
Right.
would be screaming
Right,
at
right,
me. I just got used to it.
Got used to it,
I
man.
got used to it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just thought it was dope. Like,
It is dope.
and I was actually, a lot of the Kings games, I would just get on the train. So I had to deal with the traffic. I just literally walk across the street, get on the train, take it to Sacramento, cover the Kings game, get on a 10:45 train back,
That's amazing.
and come on.
And
The
peop-
train station was next to my apartment. Like, how could I not take the train?
Right. Right.
And that's what I would do instead of staying the night. Take the train back, work on the
Work on the
train on the way back,
Write the story.
write what I needed to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's
Yeah,
that's
so-
what we need to know about this.
So
city.
I love Jack London because it just had everything I needed when I had downtime from my job.
Right.
Like, from upscale to like hole in
Right.
the wall.
Right.
No, I just was like, I remember I interviewed Klay Thompson
Yeah.
after he worked out for the Warriors. He wasn't a member yet.
So you came in '09. That's
came
when
in
you got.
09.
Who was on the team? Who was on the
Yeah, I had a
Warriors?
rookie, Steph Curry, was
That
on the
guy.
team who lived in Jack London.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, I mean, he lived in, what's the big tower?
They lived Ellington.
He lived in Ellington. They
Yeah.
had a 2-story. Him and Aisha had a 2-story
Yeah.
building in Ellington. So it's funny at that time. If something funny was acting, like Steph was asking me because Aisha was there by herself,
Yeah.
I'd text him like, "Yo, like this is what's going on." And he used to go to Pecan to eat all the time.
Yeah,
He used to go to Oakland Grill to eat all the time.
Right. Michael LeBlanc.
There was a beautiful Korean family that owned a restaurant across the street from the train station. I used to go there for breakfast. They used to make the best chicken on Thursdays, like every Thursday. They make roasted chicken, was off the chain. And I got so cool with them that they would make my Thanksgiving turkey.
Wow. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then I'm still close to the people from Nito.
Yeah. Nito's
Shout out to
backyard.
Nito's backyard. I'm close to the folks that have the deli.
Sierra Market.
Deli, man.
Yeah.
They used to take care of me. They got the best.
I went there today.
Bro, you go to Sierra Deli and get a salad with crab on it.
Right.
Or shrimp. Like,
Easy.
just walk in and grab it and walk out. I don't know any other place like that. And,
No.
and it's bomb, too. It's
Bomb.
good. And then I would, walk to the movies.
Right.
Remember, like, so many concerts I went to.
Right.
At
Yoshi's.
Yoshi's. Like, seeing Dave Chappelle till like 3 in the morning and walking home. And then, like, the restaurants here, man. Like, people from Chop are like, I don't even live in Jack London no more, but like all these restaurants, like these folks are like family to me, man.
Absolutely.
Chop Bar is dope. Mexican lady at Oakland Grill used to take care of me.
Yeah.
I interviewed Clay there, Thompson. He still remembers. He talks about that. You were the first person to interview me.
Wow.
That was connected to the NBA, and it was at Oakland Grill. Like he still remembers that.
Clay has a restaurant that's getting ready to come into Jack London, Left Bank.
Really?
Left Bank, yeah. He's a partner in that.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and Steph are still, Draymond always be connected to Oakland.
Absolutely.
And, so I always have loved it here, whether it's Kanye or,
Right.
Chop Bar
Moi.
or Moi or
Even Lake Chalet.
Lake Chalet, sitting out in the back.
Right.
Trying to think about my boy's spot, the chef that was on the TV show.
But we got Chef Nelson.
Chef John Nelson and
Yeah.
Jermon's restaurant.
All of them, man.
Like, there's so many great places to eat.
Yeah.
And
Matt Horn's Barbecue.
Everett and Jones, Matt
E&J.
Horn. You need to get Matt on the show. You need to
Oh
get
yeah,
Nelson on the
yeah.
show.
Shout out to all y'all. Y'all are coming through.
Yeah,
just so you know.
No, it's a great food city. Definitely. Like when Queen.
Oh, Lowe's the Pie Queen?
Queen?
Oh, come on. That's an establishment, man. That's an establishment.
I can't eat that much.
None of us can, brother.
But
But we gotta have it.
There's so many, just like great restaurants
Amazing.
here. Like, so oftentimes I wouldn't even like go to San Francisco or anywhere else
Right.
because I didn't have to.
Right.
Like they were all right here, man.
Right.
And then Jack London had wineries.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just like there are a lot of great areas in Oakland to live, but if you're coming here for the first time,
Right.
Jack London is cool, man.
It's cool.
Yeah,
It's cool.
It's real cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
farmers market, ferry, like it's just a lot of pretty people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what influence do you think Oakland has had on sports culture, especially in the last decade with all the Warrior championships, the coverage that's been here with ESPN and other networks?
Yeah.
Take me through some of that.
Well, I think the football team that left will regret it in the long run. There'll never be anything like the Black Hole. There'll never be anything like that experience. I think they went to something that they deemed to be pretty at the moment.
Right.
But they would have built the same thing in Oakland. It would have been super electric.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a mistake. I'm hopeful that the A's stay. The Warriors leaving, I think a lot of people had to know that wasn't really Oakland's fault. somebody bought the team and realized that San Francisco did not have a venue with over 8,500 seats.
True.
And it's a business. There's more money to be made there.
Right. The Cow Palace was all they had, right?
No, it's not even San Francisco. We're talking about Billy Graham.
True.
Billy Graham was the biggest. So now we opened up a state-of-the-art venue in San Francisco. Let's make a hand over fingers. Not that it couldn't have made it in Oakland. And the thing was, if you go look at the fans, Warriors fans weren't screaming for the team to move. They were, I mean, that location where the stadium needed renovation, sure.
Right.
Football, baseball stadium needs to be just blown up and start over, and hopefully we'll be going to baseball games at Jack London Square soon. But the Warriors play was just a financial play to go across the bridge, and I'm hopeful that a WNBA team will be here soon.
Sure.
But for those that did get the chance to experience that, I'd rarely go to a Warriors game where the name Oracle isn't mentioned.
Right. It was electric. Right?
It's different. It's just different. And Chase is nice, and it's upscale, and it's gonna grow into an amazing location, but it'll never be Oracle.
Right. Right.
Like the Solar Oracle, which I actually did an ESPN piece on it.
Unmatched.
Yeah. And it is funny because a lot of those same people that work there are working in San Francisco. But I think over the last 10 years, what the Warriors did for the city.
Right.
Like, I remember going to the first parade.
Million people.
Jack London. And just like, there wasn't no drama. It was a beautiful day. I still remember the day. It was like a gorgeous sunny day.
Yeah.
And I know a bunch of people hit me like, what's that lake in the middle of the city?
Right.
Lake Merritt, dog. Like, it's dope. Like, Oakland's dope. And, just drive across the bridge. Check it out. You'll see there's a reason why all these people are moving here all the time. There's a reason why they're knocking down these, parking lots and putting condos.
Right. Right.
And all these new restaurants are coming. It's a cool, dope place to live. So, I mean, with or without the sports teams, can't take the soul away, man.
Not at all.
It's still the coolest place to be in the Bay.
Absolutely, my brother.
It's still the coolest place.
Well, Marc, man, I appreciate you, man, for sharing your journey with us and for giving some flowers. Man, listen, brother. Listen, we're going to talk more after we...
Yeah, that's right.
After we cut this thing, we're going to...
Put some records on. See, I got the record.
Yeah, man, we got to pay homage. All these records are Oakland and Bay Area artists. That's Sly, the Family Stone. We got a little...
If one of them went missing, would you know that?
I mean, look, bro. I mean, just make...
Just asking.
Nah, not for you.
Okay.
The rest of these cats in here, though, I'll be able to tell.
Watch it, man.
I'll be able to tell. My brother...
I'm happy for you, man. This is dope.
Thank you, dog.
Congratulations.
I appreciate you, man.
There's no better person to shine a light on Oakland than you. And that's saying a lot.
My God.
Considering all the generations of folks here. But nobody knows the soul better than you. So thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. This is Marc Spears, senior NBA writer for ESPN's Anscape. And I'm on See Things From Our Side.